Welcome to Bisexual Disasters. I'm Zoe, my pronouns are she, they, and I am a bisexual disaster heavy on the disaster today.
And I'm Dimitri. My pronouns are he, him, and I'm probably as dumb as Knuckles in the Sonic 3 movie.
Oh, no spoilers, I haven't seen it yet.
I'm not saying anything,
Okay, good.
but I can tell you now it's absolutely worth watching.
Knuckles is voiced by Idris Elba, right?
Yes.
Mm, yeah, that much I
The
remember.
movie is so good.
I've seen the first two.
Yes.
I, re-
And
I
the
remember.
third one,
Go ahead.
it's so much better. It's so much better than the other two. And that is saying something
That's saying
because
something. They're good.
normally in series, like the first movie is amazing. If there's a second one, it's probably like meh. And then if there's a third one, you're like, huh?
Mm,
Like, unpopular opinion, Iron Man. First one, phenomenal. Second one, did a lot of things that were super good. I didn't like it as much as the first one. The third one, it's got moments. Kind of like Spider-Man, Spider-Man 2, and Spider-Man 3. Not the new ones, the ones with Tobey Maguire.
oh,
The
yeah.
first one, wonderful. Second one, great elements. I like the first one more. Third one, him
Mm.
dancing.
Yeah, it's funny because I used to have a massive crush on the Venom or like the the symbiote tainted Peter Parker when I was like a teenager because the eyeliner and the emo vibe, I was just like, yeah, yes, confirmed, yes. And then I rewatched it. I can't remember when I rewatched it last, but I rewatched it like a couple years back or something, and I was just like, "Oh, honey," I was like,
My taste
"Oh,
in people has
oh,
changed.
oh, no, I'm good."
Yeah, no, that was me with just Tobey Maguire entirely growing up. I was just like, oh my God.
Mm,
And then the third movie came out, and I'm like, oh,
yeah,
reevaluating this
the
now.
third movie was the one that made me have a crush on him the most when I was a teenager. But
We have such different tastes.
it's the same with Hayden Christensen though, because in Star Wars Episode 3,
Mm-hmm.
I was way more attracted to him than I should have been. And then I rewatched it
Yup.
later and I was like, oh no, he's just a brat.
Mm-hmm.
like,
Yeah, that one specifically I can actually relate to you on.
mm, mhm. But then we watched Jumper recently when Steph was visiting because she'd never seen Jumper. And
Mm-hmm.
we rewatched it and I remembered it being not that good. And then
Mm-hmm.
we watched it and I was just sitting there and I was like, okay, but like, why is he kind of attractive in this one though? Like, I don't remember him being that attractive in Jumper compared to Star Wars. And
Mm-hmm.
I was like, this is character growth. I'm not sure if that's a
Yes.
good or bad character growth, but this is character growth of myself that I find hating Chris is more attractive in Jumper than in Star Wars. It's like, I don't know what that says about me.
Jumper
What
was
change has happened?
Jumper was interesting.
Mm.
And kind of the same concept as you watch it the first time, the second time you rewatch it, you're like, oh,
Mm.
oh. I actually really like Jumper.
Yeah, it's better than I remember it being.
It gave me
It's not
like
bad.
revamped, reimagined, not exactly close sliders. Like memories.
Oh my god, I love
Sliders was so
Sliders
good.
so much. I have such a huge fucking crush on Jerry O'Connell.
Especially
Mm.
especially in sliders.
And I still say blithering idiot and blistering idiot.
Oh my god. Okay, so every time
I'm
you like said those, I recognize it and I
mm-hmm,
never say anything because like I
mm-hmm.
was like, is it just ironic?
No. I say that because
Is
of
it?
Sliders. And if I'm being totally 100% honest, a big part of the reason I was so excited to watch Lord of the Rings the first time I ever watched Lord of the Rings is because he was in it. Like,
Hmm.
I'm a nerd through and through, and I've been a nerd through and through since I was little. But at the age that that came out, I was most excited by the fact that he was in it. Like, that is one of the biggest reasons I wanted to watch the movie. Um, so
Hmm.
yeah, that's every time I say that, it is in fact because of Sliders.
We're gonna have to rewatch Sliders, aren't we?
Oh, we still have them. We taped them on VHS off the TV when
You
they were
had
on
them on
TV, and we
VHS.
still have them.
Oh my
I just
god.
aged myself, but I don't care. Well, I mean, not for
Who
you, but for
gives?
other people watching. I just aged myself
Right, but
a
like
lot. But like, I don't give a fuck. It's
I
Sliders, and I have
do you
them.
really think people listening to this podcast and watching it care?
I really hope
If not
that
them getting dated themselves?
I really hope that anyone that watches this podcast is old enough to remember taping things off of the TV with VHS. Otherwise, I might be slightly concerned. Otherwise, where are
I
your
remember the
parents?
DVD player.
We still
I
have a
remember it
VHS
coming out.
player over there. I don't know if it still works, but I still have it.
I had to get rid of my it was a VHS TV. VHS built into it.
Mm-hmm.
And I had it for the longest time and it crapped out on me, so I had to
Mm,
get rid of it. But
that
like
sucks. I need to put on moisturizer.
plugging in the RGB cords just to get any kind of game console because HDMI was not going to work with that TV. So I had to buy like adapters.
Oh, the fun of SCART adapters.
Hmm.
So,
That was a fun tangent rant
yeah,
out of
I
nowhere.
lost count of how many tangents we went on, but that was hi, welcome. We both have ADHD. Um,
Yes.
so how are you doing in general? Don't mind me while I just rub some moisturizer in because my hands are all
No,
dry.
that's fine. Anybody watching this who lives in America already knows that I am pissed off with a lot of things, but outside of anything like that, um in my tiny little bubble, things are okay. Uh, life is moving forward. I got recognized through my job the other day, which was really
Woohoo.
nice. Um, apparently, when you go into emergency situations and pull blood from people, if they don't feel you poke them, it's looked at really good.
Oh, that's good.
It's looked at really, really good. I've gotten really good at stealing people's blood.
That's when you phrase it like that, it sounds concerning, but in the context of working in a medical field, that's really good.
It is. And
I thought I was the
I've been
vampire here.
poked. I just became the medical vampire.
I feel like that's the
Anyways,
category that's missing from what we do in the shadows. Unless it isn't.
it's
I've
why
only
I'm
watched the first like
inside.
one or two episodes.
Look, I'm inside the hospital from sunrise basically to sundown. You,
That's true.
I am a vampire.
That's true.
No, it was so funny. The other day at work, we had to calibrate one of our machines, and in order to do so, we need to make sure that the platelet count inside blood that we take is coming out correct amounts.
Mm-hmm.
So we had to draw each other just to make sure we had enough blood and everything. I have been drawn so many times by so many people, and I always have like bruises, marks, all that from people, which is why I've gotten to the point where I'm like, no, that shouldn't be the experience.
Mm.
It should be good. I was poked by one of my coworkers. She's exceptionally good. You can't even tell I was poked. That's a bad angle. That's a bad angle. That's a bad. Okay.
There are no good angles when you're as pale as us two.
No, but like
There's no.
normally
I'm
you would
honestly
see like
surprised I'm not glowing more.
I have
Brightness
too
of
many like
winter.
neon and glowing lights in
Yeah,
here.
that's fair.
But like you can see body hair and color
Mm-hmm.
weirdness. But normally you'd see like a mass bruise that's like obvious.
Mm-hmm.
There's no
Yes, I am
bruising.
very familiar.
There's no scarring. It's great.
They have to
Is an
use
experience that doesn't often happen with me.
they have to go in my hand. I think I've mentioned this before. They have to go in my hand when they do blood tests on me now and use one of the little butterfly needles
Are your
because
ACs not like good?
I don't know what that
The
means.
veins here are the ACs.
Oh, yeah, no. They have a tendency to either move out of the way a lot or they will just straight up collapse and spit the needle out. Like literally the first time it happened, I heard an audible like as the needle just popped out my arm. It was not good, and I have really bad anxiety with needles. So every time I go get a blood test done now, I'm like, remind them you have to go in my hand with a butterfly needle because otherwise you're not going to get blood. It will not work. You will not fill a tube with from my arm. And they one day they did like this inner elbow, then that inner elbow, then they tried the forearm. That's before I had the tattoo. Then they tried this side. Like she called one of the other like one of the senior doctors in from my doctor's surgery because she couldn't get blood out of here. So he tried in like four different other spots before eventually agreeing with my statement I entered in when he came into the room and was like, "Yeah, no, I think you're right. I'm going to have to go in your hand." And I was like, "I fucking told you." I was like, "If you'd listened to me from
Okay,
the
so
start, we wouldn't have had to do this." Like I was like crying by this point. Like I was just having a very like kind of like a silent panic attack where I was like quietly sobbing and like inside I felt like I was about to explode, but I was like trying not to show too much physically because I was like it's gonna make it worse. They're trying to stick needles in me if I'm flailing, having a like my panic attacks are usually quite contained and internal. And so yeah, he finally was like, "Yeah, we're gonna have to go in your hand." And I was like, "Oh, it's funny how I said that 20 minutes ago, 4 needle entries ago, and you disagreed with
yeah,
me."
I'm gonna be completely
Hmm.
honest. Next time, like, I'm given the opportunity to like either go to England or you come here, whatever it is, I'm getting a tourniquet, I'm putting it around your arm, and I'm feeling around just to see what it's like. I'm not having any needles, but I just want to know
Mm. Because the thing is,
how your veins.
yeah, they're really tricky because like they feel like they're going to be really good, but then as soon as the needle goes in, they just like they're really wiggly. They like move out the way,
Do
or
they not
if
anchor
the
the
needles end up actually getting in the vein, it'll seem like it's going really smoothly. A little bit of blood will come out, and then the vein will just collapse, and the blood will stop flowing.
do they
I
have
have
like this little
really
thing
terrible
on the end of
veins.
that butterfly that they just hook a tube to and it goes, "Whoom," or are they pulling with a syringe?
No, it's like tube.
Okay.
Yeah, but like it's hereditary. My mum's veins are the same. They used to be okay, and then when I got to like I think it was like early to mid 20s, the veins in my arm just got weak. I don't know what better word to describe it as, but they're really weak now. And they can't get blood from my arm properly anymore because the veins will just collapse. So they go in my hand and it hurts more, but it works. Like I get a
Yeah, if
bruise.
I ever go to England for a phlebotomy, I guarantee you I can get that vein and it won't collapse.
I am not going to let you try.
That is 100% fair because there's no reason for me to
No,
try.
but yeah, they've tried. I've had so many different, and even yeah, it's just in recent years, even the nurses that have like even when they manage to get it in and it's everything is going perfectly and they get it in and it's doing fine and it seems like it's going to be great and the blood flow will just suddenly and my vein will just collapse. And I don't think it's anything that they're doing wrong. I genuinely just think it's my veins.
Unless
I
they're
just have terrible
accidentally
veins.
hitting, if they're hitting a wall or a valve, that might do it.
I think it's just my shit veins. I think it's just like my mum has the same problem and she has had it for years and years and years and years as well. Like once she got to a
That's
certain
fair.
age, her veins in her arms just got shitty. So
I
they
need to change topic because I'm gonna hyper focus on that and think of any and
That's
everything.
fair.
It's bad.
um so you're doing good for the most part,
Eh,
apart from
for the most part.
America being America and all of the things that
Mhm.
I don't even want to go into that, but
No, we're not going to.
I'm not even in that country, and I feel you, not on the same level because I don't have to live there, but I see you and your pain, and it is valid. Um, for me,
But how about you?
I don't remember what the last update I gave was about my health. I know I had mentioned my allergies.
Yes.
Um, I have had 2 more test results back, and I do not remember which ones I've mentioned, so I'll just mention both of them. I because the allergy test was those results were from the blood test they did. Huh.
Mhm.
Um, then I also had the overnight sleep monitor test results back, which showed it was in the mild to moderate sleep disorder range, I think was the phrasing they
Mhm.
used. So they're referring me to the sleep apnea clinic for that. So I've got to wait for an appointment for that. And then the CT scan results showed there's like one, I think there's like 3 sections of the sinuses.
Mhm.
And one of those sections, I think it's like around here-ish on my right side, has a cyst. And another one of those, 1/3 of my sinuses is like super inflamed.
You did mention that.
So they're referring me back to ENT for that. So I've got to go back to ENT for a discussion on what to do about the cyst and inflammation, and to a sleep apnea clinic for a discussion on how bad it is and what they can do, if anything, to help.
Fingers crossed.
um, Aside from that, I life is life. Stress is stress. Therapy's still going well. It's fucking cold here. We had a couple of snowfalls, neither of them lasted very long. The second one, the snowfall wasn't as heavy, but it lasted longer on the ground only because it didn't really go above freezing for like a week. So the snow took
Yeah.
ages to melt, even though it wasn't as thick a laying. Whereas the first lay, it looked nicer, it was thicker, but it like it went snow for a while and then went sleet, drizzle, rain. So it like kind of washed it away. Whereas the second snowfall, it was too cold, so it went snow and then just fucking cold.
Yeah.
So it was kind
Oh,
of pretty, but also a little treacherous while it lasted. So yeah, I've been cold. I've been extra tired and achy lately, which is kind of a pain in the bum. Um,
literally.
yeah, and in the everywhere else. Um, but it's probably due to the cold weather, because most of my physical health problems are, or at least most of the stuff that causes me the most pain is like muscular skeletal stuff,
Mhm.
like my hypermobility syndrome. Um, and cold also doesn't help with fibromyalgia, because
No, I can't imagine.
chronic fatigue and cold make for a very eepy, groggy person.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I just checked the temperature over here and I hate it.
Mm, yeah, it's
Um,
I I asked Alexa what the temperature was this morning before I went out for my first cigarette, and she was
mhm.
like, "Oh, it is 1 degree. Today you can expect a high of 2 degrees." I was like, "Great. Fantastic."
Can I take that?
Why,
Because
what do you
currently
have?
it's -14.
In Celsius?
in Celsius.
How are you
So in
alive?
real, it's 7 Fahrenheit. Look, I have a house that has heat, which is better than the trailer we used to live in, where
I mean, that's fair.
every winter the pipes would freeze and we wouldn't have running water or much
Yeah,
heat.
that's fair.
The high for Monday is -19,
Ooh, icky.
which, if people want to know what that's like in Fahrenheit,
What do you mean Celsius?
um,
Oh, no, that was Celsius. I'm
no,
dumb.
that
Ignore
is
me.
Celsius. -3.
Oof. Our high for Monday is
Like,
6.
I'll still take that.
Yeah,
I can
it's.
still wear shorts and a hoodie in that.
Speaking of which, I got new thermal tights. You know those ones that are made to look like you're wearing thin tights, but they're actually thermal? I got a couple of pairs of those. Um,
Those are going to be so comfy to wear.
mm-hmm. Yeah, the only
Someone
other.
was thinking about me. My nose is itching.
Oh no, not an itchy nose. The only
Mhm.
other update I have isn't really much of an update. They switched my ADHD meds again because my dumbass pharmacist in my village couldn't get Mediconnect. So they had to switch me to a different brand name. So I'm now on Ritalin, which is really funny because every time I think about it, I get Jesus of Suburbia stuck in my head. Because every time I think about my ADHD meds, my brain just goes, "Soda pop and Ritalin," and I'm like, "Oh, damn it." So yeah,
It's okay.
I'm on Ritalin as of yesterday. So,
I'll find out what I get put on next Friday.
ooh,
Because
okay,
next Friday is my official eval and everything to
mm,
be um, re-diagnosed with
okay,
potentially PTSD,
mm-hmm.
ADHD, autism, and depression. Not a hype thing, but having and generalized anxiety disorder.
Mm.
So if I do get diagnosed with those, it's far less a badge of honor or something as much as I can now take this and do something
It's just
about it.
yeah, it's just
Instead of being
answers
told, no, you don't have
questions.
autism
Mm.
because you mask it so well
Which
that nobody can
in
tell.
it in its own way I see as kind of a hype because especially with like our generation and how many of us have gone into and past our 20s with unanswered questions about those sorts of things, just getting an answer in itself I see as like a hype either way, whether even if it's like, yeah, you have it. Good luck with that.
Right,
That's still an answer, even if it's
right,
not an answer you want, it's still an answer. So
exactly.
that's good.
People
But
on this stream are going to be so confused when they're watching this, seeing me pick up completely random arbitrary objects to mess with so my brain can focus.
it's fine. ADHD.
And people listening aren't going to know,
Yep. It's just a special little treat for the viewers.
right? Which is definitely something to reinforce. If you guys are only listening to this, you can watch us
Mm,
and probably cringe at how many times my camera flashes green like it just did.
it's fine.
I need a
Most of
better
the time I
camera.
just block it out.
I I hyper focus on it. Every time it happens inside, I just go, "Oh gosh, dang
If
it.
it catches
I
me when
need a
I'm in the
new
middle
one."
of trying to think of something, then it throws me. But if we're just like mid flow, it doesn't usually catch me too bad, and I can just like, yeah.
If you don't have to concentrate enough, it's great. If you have
Mm.
to focus, it's a distraction.
Mm-hmm. But
Love that.
today's topic is 2025 roadmap. So I don't know why I said that like that. So we did
Because you
this.
can.
Yeah, sure. We did this not quite as close to the beginning as 2024 as we originally wanted to, but life things happened that last year. Um so just talking about our personal goals, what we want out of this year, um what anything we're excited for, that kind of shit.
It's going to
Um
be a very laid back, not so focused episode today.
Yeah.
Gonna be nice.
I have quite a few things, but they're mostly on the smaller side. Um, I've been trying to set like smaller, more realistically achievable goals for myself. Um,
Hmm.
so there's nothing crazy on here, but I have some
My list of
stuff.
expectations this year is so small.
I I think we should start on the one we have in common because you
Hmm.
mentioned before we started recording that one of your main goals is mental health. Yes,
Mental
mental
health.
health.
Literally the thing that none of us really ever
Imagination.
focus on. Right. Kind of exactly where my brain went on that one.
Yeah. So, uh, I mean, I know for me, mine is mainly just focus on my therapy, focusing on like self care and stuff, and hoping because I would like to be able to quit smoking again. But if I set myself the goal of quit smoking, I'm going to give myself shit for it. I'm really bad at guilting myself about stuff. So instead, I've set the goal this year to focus on my health and healing more, both physical and mental. And hopefully, one of the knock on effects of that will be that I can quit smoking.
Hmm.
So it's like a sub, like a mini goal, but it's like not a written goal because if I set it as a specific goal, I'm gonna pressure myself and I'm gonna feel shit, and then I'm gonna be less likely to be able to quit because I'll be stressed about it. So I'm gonna try and focus on my health and hope that in time that makes me able to quit smoking again. So that's like
That's a good way
my
to do it.
yeah. What about you?
Um, Ultimately with my mental health, um, I want to work on the thing that a lot of people have not much of an issue talking about, my anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
It's it can be really bad sometimes. And in my job specifically, I've learned better ways to manage that anxiety. Um, in an emergency response situation, it's going to be absolutely mandatory to shut all your anxiety down,
Mm.
um, or at least the parts of anxiety that inhibit your ability. The levels of anxiety that help you sharpen your senses, focus more on the task at hand, those are the ones that I'm trying to discern which are
Mm-hmm.
which is a challenge for me. Um, but being in there when someone, how they say things changes everything. Like if someone sits there and goes, I'm really sorry in advance, I don't have the best veins or something, my mind goes, challenge accepted. Brace your arm because it's going to be a one and done poke and I'm going to get all the blood we need. Um, And then there are other moments where like, oh, you're never gonna hit it. I have impossible veins. They dance, they roll, they're tiny, they're fragile, and I'm like, thanks, appreciate that. And then there are people who are, oh, you're never gonna get my vein. You're never gonna get it. Get me somebody else. I'm like, oh, you've not seen me try.
Mm.
But that level of anxiety is a lot. And in fact, this past Thursday, um, we were exceptionally busy. Like we were down some staff and it was nonstop people from like 8 in the morning until almost 1:30 in the evening. It's like 5 hours of nonstop people.
Damn.
And I ended up having two anxiety attacks in the middle of that where I had to step into the like back room
Oh no.
for like maybe 5-10 minutes to wind myself back down while my hands wouldn't stop shaking, my eyes wouldn't start like dotting back and forth. It was bad.
Ooh.
Thursday was bad. And then the other aspect of mental health that I'm working on, which for a vast majority of people, I'd assume they like to dodge, not talk about anything, that self-worth. I don't appear to struggle with it a lot, aside from like inside the jokes and everything. But my level of self-worth, um, my self-worth is something I've struggled with for a very long time. I don't see myself as this, that, things people say. Like you can tell me like you're an awesome person or you're really good looking or various other things and I will never believe it. And it is only a few people in my life who, if they say like, hey, you're looking good today, or hey, you genuinely are a great friend, or hey, I appreciate your existence, those very few people I can actually hear what they say and it kind of is believable to the point where I can say, yeah, if they say it, it's got to be true. I don't see it in the moment, but it's got to be true.
Mm.
And that list is countable on one hand.
I
And I want
can
it to be more broad.
I can relate heavily to all of that.
Outside of the work experiences, I'm sure.
Mm. Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah. But when it comes to my mental health specifically, those are the two main focuses I want to work on because if I cannot have any level of self worth and my anxiety is overwhelming, it's only a matter of time before I burn out really bad.
Mm.
And I'm not looking forward to that.
No, it would not be good.
Wow, I just realized the tone in my voice and I do not sound like myself.
I think you do.
Well, normally I'm like more of a high pitch, like energetic kind of this and that, and like my voice, like the octave is just not normal here. It's like down here, and I'm like, there's gonna be people who listen like to this little bit, and they're gonna think that my voice is normally here, and that's gonna give them a really bad expectation for me.
I think I'm just so used to all of the ranges of your voice that I just don't notice.
Like when I have strep throat or laryngitis, and my voice just goes from here to I sound like a whole new man.
The one thing I do notice is if you get in a voice call with me right after waking up, I'm like, oh, I can tell when you've just woken up. Your morning voice, your I've only been
It's a
awake for a few minutes
stereotypical man
voice
moaning voice.
is definitely significantly different.
Hmm. It's like what? Slightly more
It's
raspy,
more,
slightly
yeah,
more
it's
rugged,
more
and
like
definitely a lower
airy,
octave.
like yeah, like airy and
Breathy.
a little yeah.
Yeah. And the worst part is I can't replicate it if I haven't just woken up. Like I've tried and it doesn't work.
Yeah,
But as much as my focus on the mental health, that's where that is.
it's a good focus.
Um it's a heavy focus.
Yeah,
Therapy is helping, but
yeah,
it's a lot.
yeah. Um,
That's your cue to get into therapy if you think you might
yeah.
want it.
I feel like we say that every fucking,
I think
almost
we
every
do though.
episode at this point. It's just like, please, if you
Get
feel like
therapy.
you need therapy, get therapy, please. If
And
you,
don't stop looking for therapy if you
mm,
run into one bad therapist. There are amazing ones out there, I promise you.
mm,
So, because this is my third attempt at therapy, because the first two were horrid.
mm. And I would also say like, don't stop when as soon as things get better in heavy quotation marks. Like, because a lot of the problem I had when I was in my teens and I had counseling for all of the trauma and bullshit I went through in my childhood. they would, as soon as I would start getting better, I would be discharged. And then in a few months' time, I will have gotten worse enough again to the point where they'd have to put me back into counseling. And it was just that back and forth and back and forth and back and forth for fucking ages. And depending on where you are and what services you have available to you, that isn't always your choice. I kind of had to deal with that because I was getting free counseling because of the NHS. Now I pay for my own counseling because I don't want that shit to happen to me again.
Mhm.
I worked it into my budget and I pay for my own private counseling, not on the NHS. And if you have that option, I highly recommend it. And don't just stop when you think, as soon as you think things have got better, because I feel like there should be that period of resettling.
Mhm.
And yeah, I just think therapy is good in general. I also don't think that, like, you should feel like, oh, like, I've had some people who think that, like, they don't, like, deserve therapy, or like it it's not for them because, they haven't had this hugely dramatic traumatic event in their life, and so they think that they can't have you could have therapy to just cope with everyday life. That is fine and valid, and in my opinion encouraged. I think therapy is
Yes.
for anyone and everyone who thinks that they it can help them, no matter what you're going through, no matter how small you tell yourself it might be. If it's affecting you to the point where you're considering therapy, it's affecting you to the point where you should get therapy if you think it will help. Like, there is nothing too small, in my opinion.
I I cannot agree with that enough.
And I feel like my therapist, at the very least, will probably agree with that as well. And
Probably.
she's real fucking good at her job. I like her a lot. She's very nice. Um, but yeah, so that's your episodically mandated PSA to go get therapy if you think you need it. Anyway,
Indeed.
um,
What next do you have on the list?
uh, I'm trying to figure out how to, like, separate these because I have a bunch more little stuff. Um, I guess kind of hand in hand in that I've already not done this yet. Uh, I want to try and get to the point where I am meditating at least once a week. Excuse me. Even if it's only for
The
like
irony of that.
20-30 minutes, I would like to start meditating more and hopefully get to a point where I'm doing it once a week. And same with tarot card readings. I want to give myself more tarot card readings. Um, and hopefully
You can give me a tarot card reading.
I would be down for that. Um,
After this episode, let's do it. No.
I mean, I'd be down for that. But yeah, like
Okay, cool. Done.
I have, at the beginning of every year, I do a, like, on New Year's, I always do a yearly calendar spread, and then I write down those, and those are like my monthly tarot cards for the year. And last year, I didn't really do many other tarot card readings for myself apart from that one. This year, I want to be
Mhm.
more active and consult my cards more. Get a bit more spiritual again this year, because the last 2 years have been shit, and I feel like I need to, like, get in touch with my inner shit. So yeah, meditation and tarot card readings. Um, Also, outer sorting. I really want to sort out the craft room. In our house. Uh, Oh, that was the other inner thing. I want to attempt this year to do at least one hot bitch photo shoot a month. So like get dressed up to go nowhere
Hmm.
and just take some pictures and just try and build my own confidence up, because like what you were saying with self-worth, I have none. So um woohoo, low self-esteem gang,
It's
woo,
great.
insecurity gang, wee. Yeah, so I
At
want
least
to
we belong in a gang.
woohoo. Yeah, so I want to, like once a month or whatever, just like get get dressed up nice, like do my hair and makeup if I feel like it, and just like take a few pictures and have a little like mini photo shoot, just like by myself for myself. Kind of try and boost my confidence a bit. I will obviously show you the pictures though.
Oh, please do.
I mean,
I
I'm
need to
definitely
see these
gonna when I
because
do
then I
it,
might
you'll
join
know.
you in them.
Hell
Like
yeah,
randomly find cool outfits. Oh
yeah.
my god. Okay, so bisexual moment where
Mhm.
I'm not like stereotypical guy. That could be so freaking fun. Just
Yeah.
like find cute outfits, put them on, and then just randomly take pictures. It
Mhm.
will all be in my bathroom though, because that's the only place I
That's
have a
fine.
full size mirror.
That's fine.
But
That's fine. But I just, yeah,
done.
I don't know. I just something I want to try, see if it helps.
I'm adding that to the list.
Just hell yeah, dude. Just yeah, get dressed up to go nowhere, just for myself, just to feel good. Because
Done.
I like dressing up. Like I've done cosplay a whole bunch. I like fancy dress parties. I like dressing up, but I always feel like I need an event to go to do it. And I'm like, why can't I be the event? Why can't it just be a day? A random day of the week where I have the energy to just get dressed up for no other reason than it's fun and I like it and it'll make me feel good.
Right.
So I want to try that out this year and see how that goes. I don't know, might help, might not. Don't know. Only one way to find out.
You never know till you try.
Yeah, and then I think the rest of my goals can all mostly be kind of lumped under the bracket of like creativity and stuff, so I can talk about that after.
Um, I've actually added more that since we started talking.
Ooh. Okay, what's your
So
next one then?
get ready for it.
Okay. We're good. So, if you are watching this and you noticed a jump cut, it's because I had to stop the recording for a second to give my littlest niece her birthday present. Because I had my phone on
And
Do
if you
Not
didn't
Disturb,
notice,
so I didn't hear or see the notification from my mum telling me they were on their way.
oh, oof. I was gonna say if you didn't notice, you're probably just listening and
Yeah,
now totally confused.
yeah. But now you're let
Um,
in on this on now you're filled in.
yes. Now there is no secret.
Yes. So you were going to
One
talk
of the
about
other
your next
things,
goal.
yes, another goal that I have is I want to redo the backyard that we have. The fence is kind of so when we moved in, we originally kind of stayed in this house when we first moved states with a couple friends, and then um had a little bit of a falling out, and by a little bit I mean there was a lot of
A
drama
lot
in
of
it,
it.
and little bit of trauma, little bit of trauma in that drama. Um, but then they decided to sell their house, and they went through third party, so they no longer had any ability to refuse the sale to anybody. We bought it beneath their feet. It was karmic justice. Anyways, moving on. The backyard when we lived here originally, we rebuilt one of the gates over there, and they destroyed it. Like it was in pieces, destroyed. So we put up a new fence post there instead of a gate. I liked that gate because it gave direct access to the garage and the back door, which opened up a ton of spots. Um, I want to redo the fencing and the gates around the whole yard. So that way, oh, you just don't want us to hear you pop your fingers. Lame. Um,
Sorry, I
but
popped my
I
thumbs and it
want
was really loud in OBS, and I was like, "Oh, I can't click the rest of my fingers into straight into the microphone." Please continue.
you're
I'm
good.
sorry.
But I want to redo the fencing, so it's all brand new fencing. I want to redo the deck because right now it's a wonky piece of wood. It's a hefty size. It's like 10 feet by 12 feet, which is a good size for like a little deck thing, but I want to redo it, um, fix it up a little bit. I want to re-level a lot of the earth since we've got like this uphill. So the fence kind of like wraps around the house, starts going this way, and then just jags up and then comes back down
Hmm.
out of that corner. So it's left a lot of holes available that we've had to plug up with cement blocks so our dogs don't dig under them.
Mm.
Um, but I kind of want to just build a better fence around there, that doesn't fall apart with the crazy winds that this estate can generate. Um, and just make the backyard just feel a lot better to be around. So that's kind of a goal I have that I might, if we have the funds, work on that in the spring when the weather isn't ass. So that's a project I have, and I'm kind of already looking too much into it. My goal is like
ADHD.
yeah, my goal is like save up $2,500 for it because that in theory would be enough. So fun times.
Woohoo.
Moving
Um,
forward, what about you?
I let me see. How many more do you have? Just so I can try and work out how to space.
Currently listed two.
Okay. Um. So I mentioned sorting out the craft room. Um. I also, staying in that vein, I want to make people more gifts this year. Um.
Ooh.
Especially dice sets. Um.
Ooh.
I want to hopefully have. I want to get like a friend box. Um. Where, because the problem I have is I will see like really cool ideas on like Pinterest or whatever, and I'll save them, and I'll think, yeah, that would be really good to make for this person, but their birthday slash Christmas isn't for like months, and it's too soon to make it yet, because what would I do with it? So I save it, and then the time period of where it's the perfect time for me to make that before sending it to them, because most of my friends are far a fucking way, passes, and in that time period I completely forget the idea, and then suddenly it's their birthday or it's nearly Christmas, and I'm like, oh fuck. So one of my goals for this year is to just do that stuff kind of periodically throughout the year, so that when it does, at the very least, when it comes to Christmas, like when it
Mm-hmm.
comes to November, I will have a bunch of stuff I've made, even if it's just dice sets, so that I can actually physically send people stuff for Christmas. Um, and then if I see any other little crafty things I want to make them in that time as well, obviously, yeah, those can get added in. But at bare minimum, I would like to make like a dice set for like our main friendship group kind of thing. I've already made two for Steph. Like Christmas just
I'm not
gone,
shocked.
and the one before she got. Technically, I think it was for her birthday the year before.
Hmm.
She got a dice set. Facey Boy got a dice set the year before. But I was like, I really want to make them for like my American friends, and I haven't been able to. So I'm gonna try and do that this year. Make more gifts for people, especially the ones further afield.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, as specifically the arts and crafty side of goals, that's like the main ones for the moment. Make people shit, sort out, reorganize my craft room and everything that should be in the craft room and isn't. And
Right.
just organize stuff because I have so much stuff and I need so I need much better organization of all the stuff I have because I have a lot of
Hmm.
stuff and I use a lot of that stuff that I have, but I just need it to be better organized so it doesn't stress me out to look at the craft room because that's one part of the reason that there's a bunch of craft stuff in this room which you can't see because I don't have the big light on so that you can't see
You
it.
don't have the mean light.
mm. One there's like two main reasons why there's so much craft stuff in this room. One of them is going in the craft room stresses me out because all of my stuff is so disorganized. And the other one is that a lot of the stuff I just use a lot when I'm just sitting at my PC anyway, like watching stuff, and they're good crafts to just kind of sit and do, or
Hmm.
they are related to things that need to be done downstairs. Like I don't want to be doing resin crafting upstairs in the craft room where there's carpet.
Yeah.
Like no. So some stuff is down here just because it just logistically makes more sense. And some stuff is
Hmm.
down here because sitting in the craft room stresses me out because it's so disorganized. So I want to change that.
That is 100% fair.
Mm-hmm. What is your next one?
So my next one is kind of like a generic one, which is a new car. So the car I
Mm-hmm.
have right now is kind of crapped out. So me and my fiance have just been kind of driving in our one vehicle, and that gets stressful.
Mm. I can imagine.
Um, Fortunately for us, we don't live far from the hospital we work at.
Mm.
So like where it's, and I cannot stress this enough, literally a 5-minute drive with all the like twists and turns that you have to walk. It's about 30 to 45-minute walk. Um, Barring how long you're waiting at crossways.
Mm.
Um, but ultimately, it hasn't been too bad. It's just been annoying. And then the cold, uh, walking home is less fun.
Yeah, I can imagine.
So, but uh, I assume in like the spring and maybe even the fall again, it's going to be nice to walk to and from
Mm.
occasionally. So that's kind of nice. But having a car that works would also be very nice
Yeah,
because then when one of us goes out of state for family, the other isn't left
without a car.
vehicle-less
Mm.
for
Yeah.
10 plus days.
Yeah, I didn't even think of that. Oh, fuck.
That was not a fun time for me.
I bet.
The amount of times I would walk to and from work.
I would say, hey, at least you got your steps in, but I feel like with your job, that's not an issue. Getting steps
No,
in
it's
your
not.
job is not something that is hard to do for you.
No. The good news is there's occasionally elevators I get to use. Otherwise, it's walk
Oh,
over, walk,
yeah.
walk, walk, walk.
Hmm.
So
That's less fun.
that's fun.
Mm.
I, yeah.
We both said the same
Yeah.
thing in different ways.
Yes. 100% correct. What kind of thing do you have next?
um, my last two are also kind of related to each other. Or three, two, three, three, technically. So the super realistic reading goal I set myself, that's not sarcasm,
Mhm.
is to read at least 5 Harlan Coben books this year. Which,
With the trend you've had, I don't see that as unattainable at all.
yes. Um, my goal last year for the Darren Shan books was, my realistic goal was 5 to 10. I ended up reading 22. But the no, the Harlan Coben books take longer to read. Um, they're, more pages, slightly smaller print. So it takes longer to get through one of his books than it does to get through one Darren Shan book. So instead of doing like a read 5 to 10, I just put read at least 5 because I should be able to manage that. I have only had the brain space for 2 reading sessions so far this year,
Mhm.
but even if I have like one reading session a week, I think if I'm mathing correctly, I think I should still be able to get through 5 books. So, yeah, that's that one. Um and I've started with the first book of his I ever read, which is Tell No One, which is my favorite of his. Because I know it really well. So I started with that one. So it's just rereading things I've already read before, and then after that I'm gonna, of the books of his I own, I'm gonna go in order of release. Um but I wanted to start with Tell No One because it's my favorite.
Mhm.
And then, sort of related to that, I want to do more writing this year. Whether it's independent or in roleplay servers, but especially roleplay servers because I've
Mhm.
been missing that so much. I've really been missing that. And
Mhm.
there have been reasons of avoidance in one server more than the other of the two that we usually write in.
Mhm.
And I'm getting to the point where it's like, no, they are literally my RP servers. Like, no. If I want to write in them, I'm
Right.
gonna fucking write in them.
Heck yeah.
So I want to do some more of that this year. But I would also like to work on my little like mini books that I'm writing just for me as well, just because that's fun. And then kind of related to that as well is post in I want to post in Discord more this year.
Mhm.
Specifically in my streaming server, like RP servers and my streaming server, because obviously the last 2 years have been really shit and full of a lot of depression. And so this year I want to just, step out again a little bit more and try and be a little more active. Sorry, I'm getting all distracted by the fact that my top is not straight and aligned with my sports bra, and it's really distracting me. Okay, there we go.
I was gonna say, wait,
Sorry.
it's not straight.
I know. Um
Like,
but yeah, so yeah, I just want to post more and try and start dipping my toe in a little bit deeper with socializing again. Just try and, yeah, put myself out there a bit more and start reconnecting with the people. That's pretty
the
much it.
irony.
So like, yeah, I know.
I was gonna say because the last one I had is getting more involved back into my Twitch streaming and the Discord server
A
for it. because
It's
I
almost like we're alike.
don't remember the last time I streamed.
Mm.
Mm.
Yeah.
Because I know at one point we talked about streaming a game together, and we ended up playing it off stream. Um, and then I think our desire to play that game now is kind of just shot unless we find somebody
I
else.
know the game to which you are referring.
Although with just us,
We might be able to
we
do it
could
just the two of
probably
us.
just
Just
the
the
two
two
of
of
us.
us.
Sorry, I full know well that my brain, if I
The
didn't stop there,
perfect sync of
it
that.
was so
It was the
good.
pause and then the immediate
The
like
dancing.
that's
We
it's
don't have
almost
ADHD. I don't know what you're talking about.
no, it's almost like we have a sibling based friendship.
Mm, weird.
I know,
Like we've known
right?
each other for so many years.
Well, I'm
So
doing
many.
math. 6?
Do you want me to help you out?
Is it
6?
6?
Yep.
Almost 6. What month was it? Was it April?
No, it wasn't April. It was like February.
February? Okay. So almost 6 years.
Yeah. Yep.
Damn, dude.
I know. I know.
Oh,
Like
headset keeps
so
slipping.
much. Yeah, I have earbuds in, and this
Mm.
one is screaming at me, battery low.
Oh no. Earbuds don't stay in my
Whatever.
ears
This one
very
is.
well. I have tiny baby ears.
Nope, this one's dying now too.
Oh no.
Oh,
Okay.
whatever.
What's your last goal?
It still has like an hour. I mentioned it was the catching up on streams
Oh, that's
and
right.
Discord and Twitch.
I'm sorry. I was listening. It's just my
It's like,
brain put it immediately in the shredder.
no, you're. But
ADHD.
yeah, no, that's what I've got. So
I feel
all in
like
all, I have a lot of menial
I feel
improvements
like
and
we
then one
have,
major one.
even though some of our goals are in specifics very different, I feel like generally we have very similar goals where it's like
Hmm.
mostly centered around working on ourselves and working on our direct environment around us to try and
Hmm.
like general just kind of life and well-being improvements. I feel
Yeah,
like you could bracket most of at least most if not all of our goals under that like umbrella. Cuz
I
like
actually would agree with that one.
even with like the crafting related goals like that, that's one of the things that brings me the most joy. And making gifts for people brings me joy. So I still think those count.
I would agree 100%. Mainly because I know that if I mention anything about those, I'm immediately going to shoot myself in the foot on it. Like, for example, if I were to say, I automatically know that one of those things, the dice you're thinking about making for me, and I'm like, no, you shouldn't. You
You know
shouldn't.
nothing.
No, no,
You know nothing.
I know nothing.
Hee.
But,
I did it again.
um,
Stupid top.
ultimately, I think having those realistically attainable goals
Hmm.
in 2025 is among the best kind of goals you can make,
Yeah.
especially with how it's so easy to focus on the impossible, the negative, the inevitable
Yeah.
kind of things, that having those realistically smaller but easily attainable goals
Mm-hmm.
opens up the possibilities for higher goals, goals that'll take a little bit
Yeah.
longer to get. And then you start making bigger goals,
Mm.
ones that seem a little more um distant or more difficult to achieve, but you've already accomplished all those ones prior, so
Mm.
why not pick up something bigger? So,
Like, I'd rather set myself smaller goals that are more realistic and actually achieve them and get that dopamine hit, that feeling that I've actually accomplished something, rather than aim for something I think I should be aiming for, not achieve it, and
mhm.
just feel disappointed in myself and then just give myself crap for like eternity. I'd rather
Right.
smaller steps, more dopamine hits, more easily achievable.
Mhm. Yeah. Which is kind of like when you were talking about the not setting a goal specific for like wanting to quit smoking.
Mm.
Mine is I want to lose a little bit of weight. Um, I know the moment I set that goal, I'm going to scrutinize everything I eat, every action I do, the moments I take for like mental health and like me time, I'm going to
Mm-hmm.
see as automatically lazy. I'm useless. I'm not going to get any of that. So it's like I can't set that as a goal. I'm going to
Yeah.
make it a happy result,
Yeah.
but I'm not going to set it as a
That's
goal.
yeah. That's similar. Like I, as someone who has body dysmorphia and a history of eating disorders, it's like,
We
well,
share too much.
I know this is why we have. This is why we are
Such a
siblings.
close
This is
bond.
why we're chosen siblings because we have so much in common.
Yep.
And it's like I know if I set a goal like that, it's gonna send me mentally down a bad path.
Hmm.
But if my goal is, instead of I want to look skinny, if my goal is I want to feel better in my own body, it's different. It's not
Hmm.
focused on numbers, it's just focused on feeling. So that's how I'm trying to approach stuff like that, where the like goals I would have made for myself in the past have not gone very well. I'm trying to just like realign my thinking. Like, don't say I'm gonna quit smoking this year. Don't say I'm gonna lose, I don't know, half a stone or whatever this year. Say, I'm gonna take better care of myself this year. And hopefully, the quitting, at the very least, the quitting smoking will come with that. And I mean, honestly, the fucking best thing that has happened for me losing weight in the last like 5, 10 years has been going on ADHD medication. So the best weight loss I've had in recent years wasn't even on purpose. It
It
just
was mental
happened.
health.
It was just, well, it was stimulants because I'm still on the stimulant based ADHD meds. So it was starting
That's fair.
stimulant based ADHD meds made me lose a bunch of weight. Not like an unhealthy amount of weight, but an amount of weight dropped off quite quickly. And I was like,
Hmm.
fuck. Like, god damn. I didn't
Not
even do that
complaining.
on purpose. Yeah, like I'm not complaining. But that's something that with my history I also do need to kind of pay attention to
Yep.
and keep an eye on and make sure that it doesn't, because when I first started in the first ones I was on, they were affecting my appetite and I wasn't eating very much at all. And I was like, that's a slippery slope for me. I need to be careful with that. So it's still
Hmm.
like something I have to monitor, but yeah, it was like the most weight loss I've had in the recent years was completely by accident, just because I went on ADHD meds and my body was like, nah. So yeah, I'm just trying to think
Yeah.
about it from a how I feel instead of what I think I should change.
Right.
Because we gotta look after ourselves, otherwise. Uh,
Because ain't nobody gonna look out for us otherwise.
yeah, I mean, I was trying not
Except
to
us.
say it, but I was like, I was like, that sounds really dark, but honestly, it's kind of true in some ways. It's like, if I'm not going to look after me, who is?
Right.
Like, and obviously, I have other people in my life who care about me. Like, I live with my parents. They, my mom's awesome. Not that my stepdad isn't, but my mom's awesome. My mom is particularly awesome.
Right.
Um,
She's special awesome.
yeah, she is wonderful. Um, but
That's why I call her mom.
yeah.
Because he's the only one I got left.
Mm. Hmm. Oh, she
I'm
said to say
sorry, that
hi
was a
back, by
terrible
the way.
joke.
I completely forgot. She said to say hi back.
Yay.
But
Cool.
yeah, like it is one of those like you gotta sometimes you just gotta take care of yourself first, especially if you're someone who the world and the people in it, generally speaking, have not taken very good care of you at all. Like sometimes you just gotta get to a point where you're like, you know what? Fuck you. I need to be
Right.
taken care of, and if no one else is gonna help me do it, I'm gonna fucking do it myself. That's where I'm kind of at
Hell
right
yeah.
now. I'm just like, is there a little
It's
bit of
that
spite
aggressive
in?
self-care.
Yeah, I was gonna say, is there a little bit of spite in my self care? Yes, but is it still self care? Also, yes. Whatever works, you know. Sometimes you have to harness a little bit
Exactly.
of your spite and bitterness to make yourself care about yourself more. Just don't spit that spite and bitterness out on other people. Just fuck them off if they're not.
Right.
If they're not. If you're not supporting each other, fuck them off.
If they're not
They're not worth it.
giving anything that benefits your health, mental health, anything, if they're not providing anything that makes your life better,
Mm.
why are they around?
Mm-hmm.
Which is why you're around in my life.
Ditto.
One
Fucking.
of the 4 people that I can say that about because, again, you are one of the 4 people.
I don't even do anything. I just am weird and I talk to you about random shit all the time.
How many times have we like bombed each other with support and love
Okay.
just because?
Okay, fair. Okay, you know what? This isn't about me.
I know. I'm fully aware.
I
But I
think
think that
that's
basically completes our roadmap.
jinx.
Both of our brains were like, "Oh, I think
We're
that's it."
like we're like too in sync today. It's ridiculous.
It's so
Um,
weird.
yeah, I think that's everything I can think of for what I want out of 2025. It's just
Right?
mainly self care and reorganizing of things, metaphorical or physical.
Yeah, same. And then I know it goes without saying because we've already talked way too much about it earlier, but mental health is important. Get yourself some help if you think you need help, if
Mhm.
or even if you want help, get yourself help. It's
Mhm.
absolutely super helpful and
Cute.
wonderful.
Yip, 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 yip.
So,
And don't forget to check out our subreddit and let us know
yes.
what your goals are for 2025. Um, if you have any fun events, yeah, just what do you want your 2025 to look like?
Exactly.
Let us know in the subreddit.
Yeah.
But
Any fun topics or things that you think could be entertaining to
that
talk about
too,
too, please let us know.
that too.
We run a lot of ideas and so many of them sit in our like plan episode things where we just look at it and it's like, oh yeah, we could do that. Maybe.
Yeah, we just
Give
kind
us
of
ideas, guys.
sometimes there are a lot of ideas in there, but it also depends on like how we're feeling at that time of recording, of like
Mm-hmm.
if any of the like which one. We don't plan super far in advance
No,
for the
it's all
most
spontaneous,
part. Yeah.
basically.
The only ones I think we really plan are the Halloween episodes and the last and first and last episodes of the year. Other than that, it's just we will just idea vomit into like a thread and then whenever it's time to record, we're like, what one do we feel like talking about today? And then we just pick it.
Right.
We just pick one.
Which one do we have enough spoons for?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So feel free to give us some ideas in the subreddit. Um,
Mhm.
but yeah, apart from that, thank you for lending us your ear or your eyes if you're watching on YouTube. You can find me on Twitch as Vamp Zoe. I forgot my own fucking name for a moment. Or on YouTube, if you're not there already watching this, as Witch Vamp Zoe.
Indeed. And then me, you can find me on Twitch at the Danger Bacon. And I am starting to get more into like Blue Sky. So if you want to look up Danger Bacon on Blue Sky, you can find me there too. I don't post a lot, just being completely honest. Um, but yeah,
Yeah,
so
we
thank
will.
you all so much again, forever and always. We really appreciate everybody who listens and watches. You guys are awesome.
Yeah. But yeah, we'll talk at you again very soon. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other, and we'll see you around. Love you guys. Bye.
See ya.